Yo, yo, yo. Y'all already know what time it is, man. Welcome to the Black Cat Panther podcast. Y'all already see what time it is, man. Come on in. Wipe your feet off on the mat. We got a lot to talk about. In the last couple of hours, the Carolina Panthers have been really active. They've been really proactive in trying to get a couple of guys through the door. You know, your boy Q is here to talk a little bit of the combine, the do's, the don'ts, the who you should look at, the who you should keep your eye on. I'm gonna be real with you. Y'all see the thumbnail. It's being reported as breaking news when asked about who has been showing him the most interest. Wide receiver Xavier Leggette comes out and says that the Carolina Panthers have been targeting him. He has had two meetings with the Carolina Panthers. Xavier Leggette, man. So, look, I'm going to tell y'all right now, we're going to get into it as we do. This is one of the ones where I can't wait to really break in on this. Let's talk a little bit of combine. Let's talk about some of the players that the Carolina Panthers should take a look at, or if this person happens to fall to us, I would be glad. Number one, Keon Coleman, Florida State. Keon Coleman, probably one of the most brightest stars coming out in this draft. 6'4", 215 pounds. He is a throwback. This is what they call him, a throwback X receiver. When I tell you this guy is undoubtedly the guy, he has unteachable traits, is what they list him as. Now, they emphasize his physicality, his ball skills that allows him to dominate opposing corners. I'm going to tell y'all right now, if for some reason this guy happens to drop, you make sure you get him. You make sure you take your time and you target a young guy like this. That's Keon Coleman. Florida State went and I'm gonna be honest with you. Jordan Travis in Florida State and Jaheim Bell and them boys, they had a lot of weapons. Johnny Walker and all those guys, but they went as Keon Coleman went. I think we all knew that. Another receiver, you say that's the pick? You say that's the pick, Keon Coleman? I hear you, Jeff R. Another guy that the Carolina Panthers should potentially look at, Jalen Polk, wide receiver, had 1,159 yards, 69 catches. He shined brightly this past season for Washington. And y'all already know who his quarterback was. His quarterback was one of the young bright stars of this season. So his quarterback is projected to go late first round, early second. Another guy that's going to potentially come in here and be able to showcase us and give us another step going forward. I hate to say it, but the Carolina Panthers, look, Braylon Trice was dominant, to the point that we must take a look at him at this combine. Edge rusher from Washington. I know y'all saying, hold on, wait a minute. We need to look at receiver, but there's a couple of edge rushers that could come out here and turn your head. That could be a star, and you don't want to miss out on him if he happens to fall to us. And I'm going to tell you right now, Braylon Trice is one of those talents. He'll make you say, Brian who? Brian who? Braylon Trice will do that. At 6'4", 274 pounds, this guy is a monster. Just keep your eye open for him. I'm telling y'all right now. Also, linebacker Jeremiah Trotter Jr. Everybody know his daddy. Jeremiah Trotter was a beast playing the position himself. Now he has a son that's just as hyped as he was when he was coming out. Now, what sets him up apart is his pure instinct. Everybody speak about his lateral movement and his instinctual his instincts to get to the football and be able to make a play. And so that's one of the things that don't show up on paper. You got to have a guy like that, and which we haven't replaced anybody in that linebacker core. I'm interested to see what exactly a guy like Jeremiah Trotter could do in a defense like this with a Zero Evero. He's one of those guys. If we decide to get extra picks and trade back, he could be available. If we decide to take a receiver, he could fall to us at the top of the third. Who knows? It's all dependent upon how the draft board goes. But I saved the biggest fish for the best and for the last. Now, at 6'3", 227 pounds, from the University of South Carolina. He has been contacted 2 times by the Carolina Panthers already right now. He had this past season 1,255 yards, 7 touchdowns, averaging 17.7 yards a carry. When you look at number 1 receivers, this guy is in the top with Keon Coleman, Troy Franklin, Xavier Leggette is the guy. Like I said, you want to make sure you can get a guy that can come in and take control. A lot of the stuff that we've been talking to, like I heard Dave Canales, his latest interview that he did, I believe it was with Carolina Blitz, and he spoke upon, one, they need to build the interior of this offensive line and build it so that any quarterback that we have that's vertically challenged wouldn't have any issues. He said they did the same thing for Drew Brees, and they did the same thing for Russell. Building the interior of the offensive line, having a shell for your young quarterback will allow him to get the ball out of his hands quicker, is the philosophy that Dave Canales will be going with this year. We shall see if this is what they're looking for. Will they target the flashy receiver at that number 33 pick, or will they go and get an offensive lineman? Anyway it goes, this week is the combine week, and your boy is excited. And I'm here to tell everybody, shout out to everybody in the chat. We appreciate and love each and every one of y'all, man. We love and appreciate y'all. Shout out to C-Man, what's happening? Carolina Blue, what's going on, my boy? Red Swan, what's good, third cousin? John Dalton, what's happening? Cupid Cash Man, you're. My man said all he need is $9 to make it home, family. He from Arkansas. Anybody want to help brother man out? This is his Cash App right here. Money sign, I am the real 369 capital I. Anybody, could somebody send this man $1 or $2 or $5 just to help out the cause? We appreciate you. I got you, John Dalton. I just read your comments, man. Omar said somebody blocked that troll. He said he not a troll, Omar. That's what he said. But shout out to everybody in the chat. The combine is here. Let's talk about it. What are your expectations for the Carolina Panthers? Who you think that they should be looking at? They're targeting Xavier Leggette, a wide receiver, which leads me to believe with the number 33 pick, they're going to look in the direction of wide receiver. They're going to try to get pass catching options for your young quarterback, which means that they may potentially in free agency try to show up this offensive line. Is that the best route to go? Do you guys think that there should be a better way that we should go about this thing? I mean, let's talk about it today. Let's put it in full perspective, and let's really take the time to think this thing through. When it comes to offensive line, you want maulers. You want young guys that's huge, pause, that can come, set their man, put their man, and be able to put their man down on the ground. You want young guys because older offensive linemen, yes, they're more savvy, but you want young, fresh bodies that don't ache as much. I mean, think about it. We were talking about Taylor Moton at 33 with arthritis. Come on, man. So you want to make, I'm sorry, he's 31. You want to make sure that you get guys that can come in here and be young, be able to, from A to B, be able to get to it, man. I'm to the point now where I need to see that offensive line built correctly. I think that we can see the most improvements behind this offensive line if we take the time to shore up the inside shell. Now, granted, we all know Bryce is the quarterback. The number one thing, that I've been seeing in just about every interview is they talking about how much detail is, with Bryce learning a new offense, getting that ball out is going to be number one. And I think they made a reference that is 2.2 seconds is the average to get the ball in the flat to your running back. Also 2.7 seconds is what we averaged last year on getting the ball out. So they're emphasizing trying to get the ball out fast enough, him making quicker reads and moving out. Number one. So if we can focus on getting the ball out of Bryce's hands and getting it out in a timely fashion, they're under the belief that we'll be better all the way around. Now, that's positivity, that's positive thinking, but in all actuality, how well will Bryce adapt to doing this? Because that means pre-read, you need to be at that line of scrimmage to be able to make those pre-reads. You know what I'm saying? We struggled with getting to the line of scrimmage last year. We were one of the teams that, you talking 10 seconds, 8 seconds, we getting set up still. That's not good. You can't seriously want to, try to take this thing and get the ball out of the hands, but, take and look what we did last year because, like I said, we were terrible at pre-snaps when it came to getting the ball out, when it came to setting up everybody. So that's another thing that needs to be addressed. The discipline of this team trying to, and Canales has been hinting at it. He's been hinting at, okay, we have to do more teaching this year, which, a lot of people have been talking about Canales and talking about his ability to talk to the media and showcase to the media what his mind frame is. His mind frame seems to be that he wants to take his time and build this thing slowly. I'm not too sure if he's aware that he really don't have as much as time as he thinks. But this is one of the one things we're going to address today. With the number 33 pick, if Carolina Panthers take a receiver, will that be the end of our problems? Will that answer everything that we needed answered for this year? Because end of the day, I just want to see competent football here in the Carolinas, and we haven't had that in well over, probably the last 4 or 5 years. We haven't seen competent football, especially from the quarterback position. And when you draft a guy number 1 overall, your expectations is for him to come in and be able to at least have competent football play. I mean, sheesh, we don't ask for much. We really don't. So shout out to everybody in the chat. I'm going to get to you as I do. Give me 1 second. All right, let's see. I see y'all all out here. Man, subscriber in a bad situation this morning. Don't do them like that. What's up, everybody? It depends on who we get in free agency. Matt knows nothing. What's up with you? Cupid Cash Man. He said, I think we should go best player available with the 33 pick. But if, like Dan Morgan said, everything is equal, build that line, build that wall. I like that, Cupid Cash Man. Best player available gives us time to really focus on building. It gives us time to really, like, if you get into that, let's be real. If I get into the draft and I see offensive guards sitting there, if I see any type of tight end, or because there's a bevy of guys that we could take that we aren't even looking at. Like Jatavion Sanders is the second best tight end in this entire draft. We need a pass catching option. Who knows? They may even look in that direction. You can get an extra guy that could block as well as catch pass catching options. 6'7" guy, huge target. I'm under the impression at best player available, you got to do what bolsters and makes this offensive line and makes this team flourish better. And one thing Canales said in his interview, he said that in the last couple of years, if you go back and look at statistics, very few rookies have been putting out offensive output. He said you'd be surprised to see how many rookies have came out and put out big numbers in their first year as an offensive output. So I don't know if he's trying to save face with that, but we gonna see. And once again, like I said, it's an open discussion today, man. Shout out to everybody in the chat. I'm under the impression, man, the topic is really, let's talk about it. Like, how are y'all feeling? Are y'all hot? Are y'all cold? Like, the combine is here. What should we look at? What should we target? Are y'all all in on offensive line? Are y'all all in on receiver? What can make the Carolina Panthers better? I mean, there's a bevy of things that we could do as a team, but we got holes all over. Last year, like I said, we hosted a number three defense, and this year I hope to build upon that to make it a more elite style of defense with playmakers that could come and give us takeaways. We need interceptions. We need sacks, fumbles. We need stuff like that to be able to compete in the league. Now, yes, you didn't pass on us much last year, but you ran down our throat last year. We got to be able to build this thing a little bit better. That's all I want to do here in Carolina is get started to it. And I'm looking at a bevy of guys. Like I said, I listed out a couple of guys that I would like to look at in this combine, whether it's Xavier Leggette. Well, the Panthers are already actively looking at him. Keon Coleman is another guy. Like I said, I'm one of those guys. Like I said, Braylon Trice from Washington intrigues me because if I wanted to get a guy that I think that could come out here and get some sacks and make some things happen, I would keep my eyes open for him. My man said, all in for a dog. I hear you. Carolina boy 90 say an all offensive draft. I understand that you want to go young, you want to go all offensive, but we got, just as well as we got holes on the offense, we got holes on the defense too, Carolina boy. And I know it's less glaring. I know it will make sense to you if you will be able to put up points with the best in the league, but you got to realize we're far from putting up points with the best in the league right now. This is, like I said, even if you go all offensive, you go, you get a receiver, you go, you get running back, tight end, offensive guard. Even if you go and address all those things, are you going to be able to compete with the big dogs? Are you going to be able to compete with the Ravens, the San Francisco 49ers, the Lions? If you go and get all that this year, where do you stack up on the totem pole in the NFC? That's what I'm saying. Even if we get all that, I still think we a year or two away because there are pieces on both sides of the football that we really do need to address in order to be a competent team that could come out and really take it to the next level and be real contenders. We got a while to go. A while ago, bro. Flame for Jesus, what's going on? He said, I hope they sign Pittman in free agency and maybe one more receiver. I don't mind Pittman. Pittman is going to cost you about $22 million a year. Now, that's the thing, Carolina fans, right now. Are y'all willing to pay Michael Pittman Jr. $22 million plus a year? Are y'all willing to do that? He had 1,100 yards last year, and he had a couple of touchdowns. I think it was like 7. He's a very good pass-catching option. Are the Carolina Panthers and the Panther fans willing to pay that type of money for him? That's the real question. Y'all already know we already get ass tight when it comes to paying players, making sure that they get the money that they deserve, and be mindful. If you go out and you have an 1,100, close to 1,200 yards, and you get 6 to 7 touchdowns, you deserve any amount of money that comes to you. Now be mindful, the first time he get out there and stuff don't look right, are y'all gonna blame him for something not looking right? Or are y'all gonna look and say, okay, we gotta do better offensively because I'm gonna tell you, last year, y'all went and got DJ Chalk and Adam Thielen and all these guys, and the first time it didn't look right, it was the separation. It was this, it was that, it was he taking off plays. It's always an excuse, and I don't want to hear that this year. You go pay $22 million to a receiver. You better make sure he always open. He better be the goddamn 7-Eleven. He better be open all goddamn night. I don't want to hear no he can't get open. I don't want to hear that shit. You know what I'm saying? You pay $22 million for a receiver, some of a bitch better always be open. Just the law says all about the trenches, O line or D line. Too many examples of competitive teams being built this way. Just got to get the right guys. Easier said than done. That's a fact, brother. I'm I'm under the impression in this draft right here, if you a young coach, number one, you should establish the trenches. This is what I would do. Now I'm gonna take all the feelings aside, and I'm gonna tell you what Q would do. And for me, at 33, I would go and get the best left guard money has. Whether that's Graham Barton, whether that's Cedric Van Pran, whether that's that boy from UConn, I would go and get the best money on a left on a left or a right tackle or a right guard. I'm sorry, on a left guard or a right guard. The money can get me in the draft. Then I would turn back around and get a pass catching option, third round. I would go and get probably Devontae Walker or any one of those guys that'll be sitting right there. I don't think you have a bad start to a draft if you go and you get a big guard to solidify your line for the next couple of years, and then you turn around and get a guy like Devontae Walker. I don't think that's a loss for me at all. And then fourth round, I would take my time and I would look to get either a running back or a pass catching option as a tight end. And you got Cade Stover from Ohio State that'll be sitting there, Jaheim Bell, you got Ben Sinnott. You got a bevy of guys that you could bring in to help out your team. But not only that, like I said, I would start in the trenches on both sides. I would look to probably get me a defensive lineman to put on that line to help out because I want to win. What better way to win is than attacking the trenches and being able to dominate on the offensive side of the ball, dominate on the defensive side of the ball. I mean, when you look back at the recipe that we had, everybody laughed at Dave Gettleman 2013, 14, and 15. I'm sorry, not 13, but 2014 and 15 when he built that team. He kept getting offensive linemen and he kept getting defensive tackles. And guess what it did? It helped elevated the entire team because our defensive line, you could just rush forward. That's just how dynamic we were. You didn't have to go out and you didn't have to go and try to pull people to do this and scheme people to do that. You had the players in place to do what you needed. But we got away from that. Mainly because we didn't pay anybody. And like I said, with everybody leaving at one time, it depleted the entire roster. So we need to get back to that. We definitely need to get back to that. My man said, is it worth it? I'm guessing your question is posed to should we get a wide receiver in the second round? For me, I wouldn't get a wide receiver in the second round, but I understand why the Carolina Panthers will go out and get a wide receiver because they want to make sure that they got undoubtedly a guy that could come out here and be a great pass catching option. And that's what we thought Mingo was going to be. He was taken in the second round. I think a lot of people forget that Mingo is still on this team. Why do you go in the second round and get Mingo and then you don't give him no rug burn, no play whatsoever. I don't get it, bro. Or is he talking? Oh, okay. He was asking, was Pittman worth it? Yeah, I think Pittman is a good dude. Um, is Pittman worth the 22 million? I don't think so. That's just my honest opinion. Y'all heard it here from me first. My honest opinion. I would not pay any receiver, not name DJ Moore, not name Addison, not name what's that boy Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase. I wouldn't pay nothing but those type of receivers $20+ million a year. Those are the guys that garnered that type of money. I don't think any of these other guys like a Pittman Jr. First of all, if Pittman Jr. was like that, why is he a free agent and heading to the market? Come on, man. If he was that vital, his team would do everything that is to keep him. I'm just saying. Flame for Jesus said we need to throw the quarterback. We need a quarterback to throw him the ball. Oh, I agree. I'm not high on Bryce Young at all. But I realize that this regime is going to do everything possible to help make that boy work this year. So with that being said, I put my bias to the side. I put my feelings to the side. I put my dislike to the side. And I said, hey, it's time for us to talk about what could we do to help this young fella. Whether I like it or not, I'm going to try to see what we can do to help this young fella. And if he succeeds, yes, that's good. We all can take a page out of the book and say, okay, this is what we really, really needed. It was truly this is the problem. And now that you can see it, you know how to move forward now. But if he fails, I'll be like, oh shit. Well, I tried to help give this guy everything he could need. I'm just being honest. He said, get a left guard at 33. Oh, I agree 1,000% with you, Chris. You go, you get guards. I say you go get one of the best ones out of free agency, pay about $7-8 million a year to them. Then you hit basically this free you hit this market right here. You get the best left guard, right guard the money can buy. Then you turn around and you draft and you solidified your guard spot to have a wall with Bradley Bozeman, your best guard that you bought out of free agency, and your best guard that you got out of the draft. You can't go wrong with that. You can't. My man said Gabe Davis is cheaper or Calvin Ridley. Well, the problem is with Calvin Ridley. He has made some stupid ass mistakes over the last couple of years, and I just can't risk the dumb nigga coming here. It would really, really, really. I can't risk spending that kind of money on Calvin Ridley, knowing that he could potentially do something stupid. I just don't want to do that. But the number one thing is the Carolina Panthers got a lot of money this year to really play with. Household money, a lot of stuff to really think about, a lot of things to consider. And like I said earlier, with the combine being wrapped around the corner, there's a bevy of guys that the Panthers should take a look at. And I'm gonna be real with you. We finally got the regime. I feel like I'm warming up to Dan Morgan a little bit more. The more and more I hear him talk, I'm warming up to him. I don't care so much for Canales, but I'm warming up to Dan Morgan, man. He keeps saying we need some dollars. I'm gonna sit back and see. This is the year of me seeing it. I need to see you putting in motion trying to build this team the correct way. I need to see all of it because I believe that the Carolina Panthers is not as bad as I don't think we as bad as people think we are. Like, I really think that coaching regime that we had last year with Frank Wright and the guys were a lot worse than people give them credit for. And then the bevy of coaches putting their hands into the pot, the drama, the he say, she say shit they had going on. It's a lot to take in for young rookies. It's a lot to take in for players. Like I said, you saw Adam Thielen upset last year because they lied to him. They thought that they were going to be competing for Super Bowls in 2 years, maybe 3 years. That's not the case. So we got to take this thing with baby steps day by day. But I am optimistic a little bit now. You get what I'm saying? Shouts out to everybody in the chat. He said you can give Bryce his best chance and also build for the next guy. Yeah, yeah. There it is. There it is right there. Excuse me. I believe that build this team the correct way. If Bryce can't get it done, you go right back in the draft next year and you get the best guy that money can buy. And that's why I always talk about that lottery pick is probably the hottest thing you could ever have. I'll take Bryce Young. You know what? You know what? I'm not gonna shit on Bryce Young today. I'm not gonna do it today. It's easy to shit on him because he's an easy target. I'll say this. Next year's draft has a bevy of young talent, whether it's Riley Leonard or those guys. If it doesn't work out, I will take my time and I'll say, hey, I won't throw it up in nobody's face. I won't say, hey, AR-15 was my guy. We should have stuck with a guy like that. I'm just going to be quiet about that. And I'm going to basically say, hey, it's a new year, new regime. I'm going to choose the high route. Everybody here knows that up under this new regime, I have said multiple times, I'm going to take my time. I'm going to see how well they evaluate players because that's the number one thing Carolina Panthers was we were missing. We were missing talent evaluation. Like under that Frank regime, under that Matt Rule regime, we could not evaluate talent to save our lives. And so for the first, I feel like maybe we have a change this time coming in. Hopefully, we have a bevy of guys that could come in and see their way to try to turn some things around. I'm trying to give these boys a chance. I really am. I really am. It's taking a little while for me, but I'm trying. Shouts out to everybody in the chat right now. My man said Ben Sonata is a very underrated tight end. He said he thought he was getting a different QB. Yeah, he thought he was getting a different QB. But guess what? Life surprised him. Life has a way of making you look stupid every now and then. And that's what happened. But I'm going to tell y'all like this, man. The link is in the chat. Y'all already see what time it is. Come on up here. Talk to your boy. Tell me how you're feeling. It's one of those ones where Combine is here. We're talking about Xavier Leggette. Carolina Panthers have their eyes zoned in on a receiver. Is that the best choice for the Carolina Panthers? Or should they hit free agency, try to get one of those guys like potentially like we were talking about? I mean, there's a bevy of guys that you can look and it won't hurt a thing. Should we pay for receiver or should we go and get a young guy and get him on the low and not have to pay him so much? Would it benefit the Panthers to watch him grow with your quarterback? Hell, will your quarterback be here in a year? I mean, there's a bevy of things we have to determine in which direction we want to take things because the Carolina Panthers are at a crossroads right now. I'm at a crossroads. You guys are at a crossroads right now. And it's one of those things where if we make the wrong turn, it could go worse. Could get worse. The last thing you need right now is a little bit worse. So I'm under the impression, my man said, that Cade Stover pick in the 5th gonna hit like a look. I don't mind Cade Stover. Cade Stover to me is a pretty good tight end from Ohio State, man. I think people sleep on how well. I think he's going to be the breakout tight end of this year. There's 3 guys that I think that's going to have a good year. Every year I give y'all my list of tight ends that I think going to have. I hit on the last 2. I've been doing good every year picking a tight end because I knew Michael Mayer wasn't the guy. Michael Mayer came out. He had the highest draft uh, number on him last year, but it was just something. It was just something about old boy from Detroit and something about Buffalo tight end. And I always said those two were going to be my favorites. This year, like I said, Cade Stover, Jaheim Bell, and Ben Sinnott seems like the guys undoubtedly that has the torch this year in the tight end room. I think, like I said, you can get Ben Sinnott maybe fifth round. Cade Stover is between the third or fourth round. Jaheim Bell is probably going to be a fourth round pick. All of those guys are very great pass catching options as well as great blockers. Um, so you don't have to worry. I'll take you in one of those guys any day of the week. So this is one of those ones, man. The Turner said we don't have the depth. It's a rebuild. You're right. And to the Carolina Panthers, and this is where it comes in so vital with the combine. Right now, we should be looking at we got what 6 picks in this draft. After that, we need to be looking at undrafted guys. We need to put together a core list of undrafted guys that could come in and help this team potentially get to the next level. We don't need dynamic playmakers, but we need guys that could be really good, serviceable starters or potential backup guys that could come in and give us, you know, how do you say it? Give us at least a little bit of hope at their positions. Like, I'll put it in full perspective. Like, this past season, I liked Rajon Wright. I think Rajon Wright had showed promise. He was a big, bulky corner that came in that was man to man. I think he didn't get many opportunities to showcase what he could do because you had a guy like CJ Henderson always in the way. Now be mindful, he was a former first round pick that we traded for like 2 years ago. And ever since then he has had bad season after bad season, and we still was elevating him in front of the younger talent. That's the number one thing that I love about Canales comes in, and he said it in this interview. He said, I don't have the relationships with these players, so it's easy for me to say, okay, this person can go. That person right there need to tighten up stuff. This person right here need to do this better. Because personally, he does not have a relationship with any of these young men. So it doesn't hurt him to say what he need to say to them and be objective. That's what we had a problem with this past year. Our coaching staff, once they go in and get their guys, they felt like they owe it to their guys to do this or owe it to their guys to do that. And that's not a way to look for a regime because when you swear allegiance to some of these players over building this team, you always going to be on the outside looking in, bro. You got to build this team correctly. So, it's always one of those things, man. Playing for Jesus, what's happening? He said they will not keep but 3 tight ends, 2 already on the roster. Will they draft one if Hurst stays? Well, I'm going to tell you like this. Hayden Hurst is such a question mark. We don't know what he's going to be from week to week. He's dealing with concussions. He's dealing with mental issues. And from what I understand, to me, it's big enough to keep him out of football for a little while. So I wouldn't be surprised if the young fella would take a little leave of absence or something like that to get himself together, because you went from potentially having a chance to take this thing to the next level to just disappearing. Like, we have no idea what happened amongst the season. We just knew one week he was fine, the next week he was concussed, and it was like, okay, what do we do now? We got to have insurance at the tight end position if you want your quarterback to come out and have a fighting chance for this season. Number one thing to help a quarterback is having a security blanket. If you don't have a security blanket, your quarterback is dead in the water. I'm trying to tell you that right now. So if y'all don't attack, I think tight end is probably the second most. If you go get a receiver, you better go get a tight end soon. Because it's just that important. It's that important. If you don't attack and get a tight end right then, you're going to be on the outside looking in at this division yet again, and your quarterback going to be getting sacked play out, And I don't believe that Tommy Tremble is the guy. Eternal say Tommy Tremble did good to him. Right on time, isn't he? To me, Tommy Tremble, he's going into his third year now. And tight ends, like we all know, most players, most tight ends, stuff like that, get the NFL body year 2 to year 3, and they start coming into their own. Yes, Tommy Tremble showed a little more resilience from one year to the next. But to me, if you want a true talent at the tight end position, you got to go and get one, you got to go do your homework, and you got to also find a guy that could come in and be great. And that you need prototypical size, speed, and it's all in what you want him for. Do you want him to block more? Do you want a guy to pass catching option? Do you want a guy that can run routes? What do you want him to come in and do? Because Tommy Tremble was a tight end we took. They didn't even play him the first year. He didn't even understand the playbook, so he suffered. Now he started to come into his own, but Tommy Tremble has been through 3 different regimes in less than 3 years. So it's hard for a guy like him to show promise or showcase anything when he is constantly in regime after regime after regime because the coaches keep getting fired. He can't show because he always learning. It's hard for any player to showcase anything when they always having to learn playbooks year in and year out. They can't get comfortable. So I don't expect much out of Tommy Tremble. I just know he's probably not the guy for the Carolina Panthers, but I don't think I wouldn't push him out the door. He would make a good number 2. It's just that we got to get that number 1 in here that could be the guy, like the George Kittle, like the we gotta find our very own version of the guy that could come in and at least give you around 700 yards as a tight end. If you can get a tight end that can give you that amount of productivity, you in business. Al Sailor say I like Tommy Tremble also. My man said that Strachan dude was decent. Jeff R says, does Bryce even have the arm strength to get the ball to Legette on the deep ball? I'm gonna be real with you, Jeff R. No, he doesn't. He doesn't. And at 6'3", I'm worried that that'd be a waste of this guy's talent to try to bring him in here. He's 6'1". Leggette is 6'1". He's almost from that same build and mold, the Mango and all those other guys, but I'm like, okay, here we go again with this same type of receiver, this same type of Terrence Marshall type of Mango type of receiver, where you go and you get jump ball guys versus getting a guy that can run routes and create separation. But that's the thing, man. We need productivity from all these guys because if Bryce can't throw the ball down the field, then you need to implement, especially if we're doing a variation on the West Coast, you need to get pass catching options that can get in the middle of the field and get open. Like an Xavier Worthy would be more of a guy I would target if I was the Carolina Panthers and I wanted a wide receiver. Xavier Worthy would be more or less the guy I would look at because I know with his elusiveness, his ability to get open, his ability to shake defenders, we wouldn't have any issue with this guy. And that's who I would look for. But you keep getting this same type of 6'1", 6'2" guy, jump ball defenders, and they all from the same mold, and you're going to keep getting the same thing because these boys don't run routes. These boys are not sure hands when it comes to catching the ball. All they do is go in 50-50 balls. 50-50 balls. That's all they do. So you have to be really, really, really good at catching 50-50 balls in order for yourself to, differ from the rest. And that's where the problem is. Yeah, Mango is a good receiver. He catches a lot of 50-50 balls, but the problem is what can Mango do in the open field? How versatile is Mango? What's his ability to get away and escape defenders? That's what you need for this team. Stop getting these guys that you think work for Bryce. No. I think Xavier Leggette is a different type of guy, but I would not go and get him for Bryce Young. I would go and get a Xavier Worthy Even a Troy Franklin, I would go and get because Troy Franklin is fast as hell. You want somebody that has some type of elite trait. And that's the thing. Troy, his elite trait, speed, his ability to run routes. Xavier Worthy, his escapability, his ability to elude offenders, like defenders. You watch him in the open field and you see how well he just boom, boom, put one move on somebody, he gone. You want that versus getting a mango where you try to figure out what the hell he do best. I have yet to figure that out. Yeah, my man said it'll be years before we have a superstar. Yeah, you're right. My man, MD Bryce, what's going on? He said, man, we had no real weapons at any positions. If fans say they like a guy, it's just a few plays. Far too many in between. No playmakers. You're right. We got no offensive playmakers and we got no defensive playmakers as well, which I think needs to be addressed. And we need to start making the mold right here, right now, changing this thing up. That way we can instantly try to see if we can add on to what we have here. Because, like I said, what's the number one thing on the offense that you need? You need somebody to be able to create an open space. You need a running back that can find a hole, boom, get to the second level in a burst. You need tight ends that, boom, they can get behind the linebackers and really do some damage across the middle of the field. Boom, you need receivers that can beat their man one-on-one and they out. We don't have that on the offensive side of the football at all. And also defensively, you need linebackers that boom, one step, instinctually they headed to the football. You need edge rushers that, and notice I say edge rushers, outside linebackers, not just one. We need multiple ones that can come out here and be able to go sideline to sideline. We haven't had this in years, and that's why I hate to say it. Until we address these positions, we're going to be on the outside looking in. All I'm saying is I brought you a couple of guys earlier in the combine that you should be looking out for. All I'm saying is those people and those guys are going to be available. Keep your eye out for them. Keep a look at them, as well as understand that the Carolina Panthers have brought in Xavier Leggette for 2 different meetings already. And this is being reported by Xavier Leggette himself. You better look out because it sounds like to me they're going to take another Terrence Marshall Jr. or they're going to take another Mango, and you're going to have 3 of the same players on one team. That seems to be where we're going to be sitting at. MD Bryce is the most disrespectful thing Q says on a daily basis. You deserve better. Shout out to Just Alone, man. Look, MD Bryce know look, it's all good. It's all love right here, man. I ain't mean no harm. He loved Bryce. He want to see Bryce. So, we gonna go with that for the rest of the year. I'm just gonna leave that there. This is not a Bryce Young show. This is a how can we build the team type of show. And I'm gonna put it like this right here. It's Monday. What it is? It's Thursday. It's in the middle of the workday. Y'all boys either hit the link or your boy about to go back to work. So y'all already know what time it is. I'm gonna tell y'all just like this. It's one of those ones where I just wanted to just pull up on you for a second, tell you what's going on in the combine, tell you what's going on with the Panthers. We got a show tonight that's gonna be lit. I think GOAT starts the Black Cat After Dark. Yeah, if it's not tonight, it's next week. But make sure y'all don't miss it. It's one of those things where you gotta have it. It's gonna be like cook, crack. You gotta have it. That goddamn Al the Sailor, what's going on? Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yes,
Hello,
sir.
can
What's
you hear
up
me,
with you,
Q?
Al? How you living?
Oh man, I'm chilling, bro. Man, I'm doing good. I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Starting
Talk
to
to
get
me,
hot out here in
Al.
Florida,
What's
bro.
on your mind?
Starting to get hot. Nah,
I
I
hear
agree
you
with you. Yeah,
drop.
we need to build this team up. It's starting to get. I mean, we need to build this team up. I would go with, like you say, build the line, and then there's not too many 700-yard tight ends in the league like that though, so that's gonna be hard to come by. I mean, I think Tremble can do good if we give him the chance, the opportunity, and he's been getting better, progressively better every year he's been in the league. And then, but drafting a receiver at 33. Excuse you, brother. Yeah.
My bad. My bad. I did not. I thought I was muted.
But but drafting a receiver at 33, I wouldn't do that. I mean, I would still, like you say, build the line and start trying to restock this team. If some people got to go, some people got to go. And are we bringing Terrence Marshall back again, or are you just speculating that? Or
Now, what would you be bringing him back to do, Al? Because he ain't did shit the
yeah, I
last 2
know.
years.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Why? Why bring
Man,
him
yeah.
back?
There's no need to waste no money on Terrence Marshall Jr. You got Mango, you got Thielen. If I were them, I would go and try to get some type of receiver out of free agency, whether that's Jamison Crowder or one of those type of guys. Bring him in, pair him in with your young guy, whether that's Xavier Leggette or Xavier Worthy, and you got four guys that you could look and say, okay, we got weapons now in the wide receiver room. But that don't
Yeah.
mean a hill of shit if you don't get add some guards to protect Bryce, and if you don't go out there and try to at least get a tight end in this draft right here that could be better than Tommy Tremble.
Well, they got the dude coming from Miami. He's a free agent. Connor, I don't know. I think it's Connor Williams or something. But he's a pretty good guard. I don't know if he ended the season on injury reserve, but he's a pretty good guard. So yeah, like you said, yeah, you can get some free agents, some free agent linemen, and then shore it up later in the rounds, maybe like a third round pick guard. I mean, if you want to take a receiver at 33, that's what they're going to do anyways. We already know that. So we already know they're going to try to build, give Bryce weapons so that, he has no excuse. I mean, at least that's the way I see it. I think that's what Dan Morgan's plan is.
So, do you think Canales is bought in on Bryce? Is he all in on Bryce, or is he like, okay, we're gonna see what he can do?
I think he's like, we can see what he can do type shit. But he'll be the starter next year for sure. But I think Canales is like, he's just saying the talking points that the people want to hear. That they still want to. Oh, he got. I mean, he has to be behind Bryce Young. You know what I'm saying? For now, he has to be behind him for now. I mean, if he can make him work, I hope he does, and I hope Bryce Young does work. But I don't think it's gonna work. But
If he
I
was
think
able to turn it
he keeps in the
around, would you
pocket.
be happy?
Yeah, I would. I definitely would. Yeah, man. I want to see. I want to see the team win, bro. I don't. It's not. It's not like we hate Bryce Young because he's Bryce Young. No, we hate Bryce Young because he's a fucking shitty quarterback for our team. You know what I'm saying? We don't hate the man just to hate the man. I'm pretty sure he's a good kid, but we want the team to win. I mean, that's all I wanted. That's all I want to see. It was terrible watching games last season. It wasn't no fun. I mean, and I sat there through every fucking game and watched every fucking snap, and then it just didn't look right. You know what I'm saying? It just didn't look right. But we'll see what's up.
Well, Al, I'm gonna tell you like this right here. You better be hoping and praying that in this combine they actually find somebody with some talent because I'm a little nervous, man. I'm steady hearing best player available, best player available. If them boys go and pull a move and go get like a corner or a linebacker versus going to get a offensive guard, we in trouble. We in trouble big
I
time.
mean, but what if it's a good middle linebacker? We need middle linebackers in this 3-4 defense.
Now,
Or D
Al, we
lineman, or another D lineman, a nose tackle, D lineman type shit like that to help, help that 3-4 work.
Al, we've been begging these boys for the last 3, 4 years to get a middle linebacker. And now, all of a sudden, when you know you need an offensive guard, You think that would piss me off so bad for them to go and get it this year, knowing that they should have got that years ago.
Dan Morgan's a middle linebacker. He knows where the defense is made at, bro. He knows how to build deep. He's gonna know how to build the defense. I can guarantee you that the defense is gonna be okay next year. But it's all dependent on Bryce Young and his progression. And I'm not sitting here trying to bash the young man or nothing like that. I'm just saying he just has to progress and get better. He has to work on the fundamentals. He has to do other stuff, and then we've added some pieces around him. He should have no excuse. And then maybe we can even take a flyer on the quarterback in the later rounds if we have enough picks, or if we somehow acquire more picks, you know. And then I don't know. And we'll see like that how that goes.
Yeah, yeah. So how vital is it for you to win this year? Like, do you need to see them come out and win a couple of games, or are you under the impression, okay, we building? I don't want to see anything but progress from the players.
Oh no, they got to win at least 6 games. I mean, I'm gonna watch the next season if they win. If they win 2 games this year, he has to go. And then, but if they win like 6 games this year, he still has to go. He still has to go.
Wait a minute, wait a minute,
I'll be
Al. You,
watching.
you you can't clean house on the man, and what if Canales think? Canales might say it might take 2 years to fix Bryce.
I don't know about all that though, but yeah, I mean, if he looks better though, bro. I mean, but if we just lose like close games and he looks better and his fundamentals improve and stuff like that, okay. I mean, maybe we can give him 1 more year, bro. I don't know. He doesn't look like a 50-year option quarterback or whatever you want to call it. He doesn't look like that to me as of now. Or an extension type quarterback. Like you're gonna give this man an extension in his 3rd year for what, $50 million a season or $25 million a season
Oh,
and $30 million a
hammers.
season?
That's a lot of
You're gonna do
money.
that, bro? Yeah, I know. What's the top quarterback getting paid right now? You got Joe Burrow. You got some quarterbacks out there getting cash. You know what I'm saying? Getting paid. Like you gonna give
Yeah.
him that? Nah, you ain't gonna give him no fucking that type of money right there, bro.
Oh man, that's a lot of money. Shoot. Well, that
He has
means
to
we
show. He has
because
to show draft. He has to show drastic improvement. Drastic improvement for me to
well,
get back on the
year
train.
three, year three, you can start extending Bryce. So I mean, if if he come out and have a better year this year, and then he turn around and have a better year, because if he progressively gets better, going from what he had 2,700 yards, what if he get 2,900 or 3,000? Barely scratched the surface, which we know was lackluster numbers, but
Yeah,
he do just enough to keep himself here. How would you feel about that?
no, I wouldn't feel good about that. I wouldn't like that at all. I mean, if he's minimal improvement, if he goes from 2,700 to 3,000 yards passing and fucking and what 12 touchdowns to 17 touchdowns and 10 picks, nah, bro, that's not good enough. It's not good enough. It's not good enough.
Oh,
They
have
they
mercy.
ran they ran quarterbacks out of different teams for better stats with better stats. They running fucking Sam Howell out of Washington right now. Shit, y'all was talking about Sam Howell the other day. Do you see his stats? That man had, I mean, man had
Yeah,
4,200 yards passing.
yeah. And they said, and this is the thing. If you listen to the consensus around the league right now about Sam Howell, they said he had a lackluster year. They said that he was incompetent as a quarterback passer to lead this team. So that's why they fully project they could go in and get a Drake May or some type of stuff. The man had 4,200 yards, bro. I don't know what more they need him to
Yeah,
do.
yeah. It was interceptions. That's what it was. That's like the Jameson factor, the Winston factor. That's what that is basically. The man he just had too
Yeah,
much interceptions towards the end of the season, and then Bieniemy, the man, all the man wants to do is throw the ball. You got 2 good running backs. He ain't run the ball. But this is the Panthers podcast. Fuck. Fuck Washington.
I hear that. My man MD Bryce said Daniel Jones numbers will get you paid these days. Dustin Long said Dave from that Pete Carroll tree, them boys aren't married to any quarterback. Hence the Matt Flynn Russell situation, Russell Geno situation. Bryce better perform quickly. Yeah,
That's a good
yeah,
point. That's a good point.
yeah. He cannot
Because they
perform if he
paid.
don't want to.
Yeah, that's a good point. Because
Hmm.
yeah, that Matt Flynn, they paid that boy, and then the same fucking offseason they fucking started Russell. They paid him. I mean, they paid him good money too to sit on the bench. That's a
Well,
good point.
I'm gonna tell you like this right here. Here in Carolina land, we more worried about receivers than building this team the correct way. And as long as we got that issue right there, we're gonna be in trouble for the foreseeable future, Al. I'm worried.
Hopefully, hopefully, Dan Morgan is trying to play the long game and not, or
Hmm.
like play towards Tepper, some motions type shit, and but hopefully he doesn't get fired before it pays off.
You
What I'm
saying
saying?
it
He's
like
trying to look.
he already look like a fired cat to you. He look fired to you
Nah,
already.
nah, nah. Nah, hell no, nah. I want Dan Morgan to succeed, man. I'm from that era. I'm from fucking Florida, that era, fucking Dan Morgan and the U and shit, man. I want him to succeed, bro. I like Dan Morgan. I like Dan Morgan a lot, and I'm a Panthers fan.
Hmm.
But I want him to succeed. So hopefully, like I said, he doesn't play too much to Tepra's liking that he gets himself fired. So where okay, they blame it on everybody but the quarterback. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully, it's not
Yes,
that.
sir.
But we
Well,
haven't
we're gonna
seen.
find
But
out.
yeah, we're gonna find out, bro. We'll find out, bro.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
well,
let you go though. I'm gonna let you go though,
yeah.
Q. Thanks for having me on, brother.
I appreciate you. I appreciate you. Don't worry, your boy Q about to get up out of here today. It ain't gonna be a long one at all
Got
today.
you.
So, if y'all haven't
Later.
already, make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe. This has been your boy Dub Q. Yeah, and I'm about to go ahead and get up out of here, man. I appreciate each and every one of y'all. The last words of the day is y'all better hold y'all britches tight because it's gonna be some shit that's coming our way. Now they going out here. They looking at wide receivers. They done calling Xavier Leggette twice. Y'all better go ahead and brace yourself. And when they take him at 33, I don't want to hear nobody whine or complain because that's what y'all wanted. So go ahead and take him. This is what y'all gonna have. Well, I'll tell you like this right here. I am going to shut my face and I'm not going to say a damn thing. So shouts out to everybody in the chat. We gonna get up out of here, man. Make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe, show us that love.